Hello, chemistry students. Today we will be performing our synthesis of n-Butyl bromide experiment. In this experiment, we will prepare the primary alkyl halide n-Butyl bromide by reacting n-Butyl alcohol with sodium bromide and sulfuric acid. The reaction of the primary substrate proceeds via an SN2 mechanism. Let's get started. To begin, we first need to pre-weigh a 10 milliliter round bottom flask. The mass of our pre-weighed 10 milliliter round bottom flask is 19.0654 grams. We will next add 1.4 milliliters of n-butyl alcohol or 1-butanol to our pre-weighed 10 milliliter flask and then reweigh the flask plus the alcohol. The mass of the pre-weighed 10 milliliter round bottom flask plus the n-butyl alcohol is 20.1638 grams. We will next add 2.4 grams of sodium bromide to our 10 milliliter round bottom flask with our n-butyl alcohol. The mass of sodium bromide that we will be using is 2.4306 grams. We will next add our sodium bromide and 2.4 milliliters of deionized water to our n-butyl alcohol in the 10 milliliter round bottom flask. We will next cool the mixture in an ice bath and slowly add 2 milliliters of concentrated sulfuric acid dropwise. We'll then add a stir bar and connect our 10 milliliter round bottom flask to our reflux apparatus. I've connected our 10 milliliter round bottom flask containing our mixture to the reflux apparatus, which consists of a water-cooled condenser, a thermometer adapter, and some glass tubing that's been inserted through the thermometer adapter into the top of our water-cooled condenser. Our glass tubing is connected using rubber tubing to another piece of glass tubing that's been packed into a sidearm test tube using moist cotton. This portion of the apparatus will serve as the gas trap to absorb the hydrogen bromide gas evolved during the reaction period. We will now heat the mixture to a gentle boil for 60 to 75 minutes. After refluxing for 75 minutes, we'll remove the apparatus from the heat and allow our 10 milliliter round bottom flask to cool slightly until we can handle it without burning ourselves. We will need to perform the extraction while the reaction mixture is still warm to the touch. If we allow the solution to cool to room temperature, salts may precipitate, making the extraction procedure more difficult to perform. We will next perform the extraction while a reaction mixture is still warm. We will remove and discard the lower aqueous layer using a Pasteur pipette. We'll then transfer the organic n-butyl bromide layer to a clean 5 milliliter conical vial. We'll then add 2 milliliters of 9 molar sulfuric acid to our 5 milliliter conical vial and cap and shake gently with venting. We'll then remove and discard the lower aqueous layer. We'll next add 2 milliliters of deionized water to our 5 milliliter conical vial and cap and shake gently with venting. We'll then use a Pasteur pipette to transfer the lower organic layer to another new clean 5 milliliter conical vial. To this 5 milliliter conical vial, we will add 2 milliliters of saturated aqueous sodium bicarbonate solution and cap and shake vigorously for 1 minute with venting. We will then transfer the lower n-butyl bromide layer to a clean 3 milliliter conical vial and dry over anhydrous sodium sulfate. We will next transfer our dried n-Butyl bromide to a new 3 milliliter conical vial using a filter tip pipette. We will now perform a distillation of our crude n-Butyl bromide. I've added a spin vane to our 3 milliliter conical vial containing our crude n-Butyl bromide and attached it to a Hickman head still, which is attached to a water-cooled condenser and a drying tube packed with cotton and anhydrous calcium chloride. We will collect our n-Butyl bromide distillate from the side port of the Hickman head using a pasture pipette and transfer it to a new 3 milliliter conical vial. We will now pre-weigh the 3 milliliter conical vial that we will be using to collect our n-Butyl bromide distillate. The mass of our pre-weighed 3 milliliter conical vial is 23.3151 grams. The mass of our pre-weighed 3 milliliter conical vial and our n-Butyl bromide distillate is 24.8029 grams. We will now perform a microscale boiling point determination of our n-Butyl bromide distillate. Okay, students, you can now determine the percent yield, the boiling point, and analyze the IR spectrum of our n-Butyl bromide. This concludes the synthesis of n-Butyl bromide experiment. Thank you for joining me for this laboratory.